what if, like, everything you knew about Earth just vanished?
Hmm.
Like, what if you had to rediscover our planet
Okay.
as if it were totally alien,
Yeah.
only using what you could observe from orbit? That's kind of the challenge we're looking at in today's deep dive.
Oh, cool.
We're going back to 1988
Okay.
to look at this proposal for a space shuttle experiment.
Uh-huh.
It was called the Planet X probe.
Planet X probe.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
It's a cool name, right?
Yeah.
Like, instead of looking out to distant planets, this experiment turns the lens back on ourselves.
Oh, interesting.
Forces us to analyze Earth through purely scientific observation.
Right.
You know, stripped of all preconceived notions.
Without any of the baggage, yeah.
Right. It's like hitting the reset button on our understanding of Earth.
Yeah, that's a really neat concept.
The proposal itself is like a total time capsule, not only for its scientific ambitions, but also for its glimpse into a pre-digital age.
Absolutely. This is 1988.
Yeah.
Just a couple of years after the Challenger disaster, right?
Yeah.
There was this huge national focus on inspiring future scientists and engineers.
Yeah.
But they were working with technology that seems almost archaic to us today.
I know.
Film cameras, limited data storage, no instant feedback from orbit.
It really makes you realize how much we take for granted, right?
Oh, yeah.
With our digital imaging and instant communication and everything.
Totally.
So walk me through this. How were they actually going to pull this off? What data were they hoping to get?
Well, the core idea was to equip the space shuttle with this payload they called CAN-D, which basically housed 4 Nikon cameras.
Oh.
Yeah. Each camera had different lenses and film types
Okay.
to let them capture different wavelengths of light from visible to infrared.
So it's like giving students this multispectral toolkit, right?
Yeah.
To study Earth's features.
Yeah.
So not just pretty pictures, but data that could reveal things that we can't even see with the naked eye. I'm curious, though, with limited film and no chance to swap it out during the mission, how did they plan to choose what to even photograph? That seems like a huge challenge.
It is, and that's where the real genius of this project comes in.
Okay.
The proposal really emphasizes this student-driven approach.
Oh, wow.
With schools all across the country participating as like this giant collaborative research team.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Imagine classrooms just buzzing with debate as students analyze potential targets, argue over priorities,
That would be so fun.
and make strategic decisions about how to use their limited film.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So they're not just passively receiving data.
Right.
They're active participants in the entire scientific process.
Exactly.
That's a far cry from just reading a textbook.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Did they have, like, specific research questions in mind?
They did.
Or was it more about encouraging open-ended exploration?
Actually, both.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The proposal outlines all these different scientific disciplines that students could investigate, from astronomy and geology to biology and meteorology.
Wow, that's a pretty broad range.
Yeah.
They even touch on cartography, the science of map making, and taxonomy,
Yeah.
which is classifying living things.
It's a really broad range of topics, yeah.
So if I were like a student in this program, what kind of activities would I be doing?
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You're on a student team, and you're tasked with studying Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
You've got access to images that show cloud formations and weather patterns, maybe even evidence of pollution plumes.
Wow.
But you have a very limited number of frames to capture this data.
Right.
So how do you decide what's most important?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Do you focus in on a specific region
Mm-hmm.
or try to get a global overview? Do you prioritize visible light images or infrared, which can reveal different information?
Oh, so many choices.
Yeah, lots of tough choices to make.
That's so cool, though. It's like they're mirroring the dilemmas faced by real scientists, right? Who often work with limited resources.
Yeah.
So there's this inherent tension between the scientific goals and the constraints of the technology,
Right.
which, in a way, forces them to be even more creative and strategic.
Absolutely.
And that's a valuable lesson in itself,
Yeah.
regardless of what field they eventually go into.
Totally.
But beyond those core science goals,
Right.
the project also had a really strong educational component.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just about gathering data, it was about developing critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
The proposal specifically mentions things like problem solving, teamwork, communication, and making decisions with limited information.
Yeah, it's like a master class.
It sounds like a crash course in scientific methodology, but disguised as this thrilling space mission.
That's a great way to put it.
They're not just learning about science.
Yeah.
They're doing science.
Exactly.
And because it's a nationwide project,
Right.
they're also learning to collaborate with students from all different backgrounds and regions,
Yep.
sharing data and insights, and ultimately piecing together a more complete picture of this alien planet.
It's a really cool concept.
I love how they've managed to weave together so many different threads.
Yeah.
The science, the technology, the education, the collaboration.
It's really impressive.
Let's zoom in on one aspect. Meteorology.
Okay.
What kind of specific insights could students gain about Earth's atmosphere using just these orbital photographs? What would they even be looking for?
Well, imagine students analyzing pollution patterns from space, almost like alien detectives piecing together clues.
That's a cool way to think about it.
They could track plumes of smoke from industrial areas,
Right.
observe the spread of smog over cities,
Yeah.
or even identify areas affected by volcanic eruptions.
So they're not just passively observing these phenomena, they're analyzing their causes and their movement and their potential impact.
Exactly.
They're essentially conducting real-time environmental monitoring from space.
That's right.
And remember, this is 1988. This is before the widespread awareness of climate change that we have today.
Yeah.
This project could have been groundbreaking in terms of raising awareness about the impact of human activities on our planet, but from a totally new perspective.
It's really ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
It really is. It's amazing how this project, even though it was conceived decades ago, still feels so relevant today.
Totally.
It speaks to the enduring power of observation, of looking at the familiar with fresh eyes,
Yeah.
and of using technology to really deepen our understanding of our place in the universe.
Absolutely.
What's particularly intriguing is that the proposal even suggests taking this a step further by having students conduct what they called active research.
Active research.
Essentially trying to create changes on Earth that could be observed from orbit.
Interesting.
Now that's ambitious. What did they have in mind? Giant billboards, smoke signals?
Think bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah. They envisioned thousands of students all across the country coordinating to turn lights on and off
Oh, wow.
in specific patterns,
Okay.
creating a sort of visual Morse code that would be visible from space.
Wow, that's a bold idea.
It is.
I can only imagine the logistical challenges of coordinating something like that, especially in the pre-internet era.
Right.
But what a powerful way to demonstrate the collective impact we can have on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the visual spectacle, though.
Yeah.
The proposal emphasizes the educational value of this experiment,
Right.
of showing students that even small individual actions can add up to create a measurable, observable difference.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a lesson in environmental stewardship on a grand scale.
It really is.
It's just fascinating how they've woven together so many different layers of meaning into this one project.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
It's not just about gathering scientific data.
Right.
It's about inspiring a generation to think differently about our planet,
Yes.
to see ourselves as part of this larger system, and to understand the power of collective action.
It's about empowering students to become active participants in shaping the future.
It's not just passive observers.
And while it's unclear whether this particular mission ever actually got off the ground,
Okay.
its legacy lives on in the countless citizen science projects and educational initiatives that encourage people of all ages to explore, discover, and make a difference in the world around them.
That's a great point.
So, while the Planet X probe may not have physically left Earth, it definitely launched a powerful idea
What's that?
that true exploration starts with curiosity, a fresh perspective, and a willingness to challenge our assumptions about the world we inhabit.
I love that.
Me too. It really flips the script on traditional science education.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of just memorizing facts from a textbook, they're out there grappling with real-world challenges, making decisions, and maybe even contributing to our understanding of Earth.
Yeah, it's the epitome of hands-on learning.
And what's so fascinating is that it mirrors how scientists actually work.
Right.
It's all about asking the right questions, designing experiments, analyzing data, and collaborating to refine our understanding.
Absolutely.
And it's not just limited to those core scientific fields either.
Right.
We talked about cartography and taxonomy earlier.
Yeah.
How would students studying those fields approach Earth as Planet X? What unique challenges and insights would they find?
Well, for cartography, imagine students having to create maps of Earth's continents,
Okay.
but only based on their shapes as seen from orbit.
Wow.
They wouldn't have access to any existing maps or geographical data.
So they're basically starting from scratch.
Yeah, it'd be like piecing together a giant jigsaw puzzle
Oh, cool.
using coastlines, mountain ranges, and river systems as their guides.
I can just picture students huddled over these orbital images, debating the boundaries of continents,
Yeah.
maybe even coming up with their own names for these landmasses
Right.
based only on what they look like.
Exactly. And in the process, they'd be developing all sorts of spatial reasoning skills,
Yeah.
learning about projections, scales, and the challenges of representing a three-dimensional sphere on a two-dimensional map. They might even stumble upon patterns or features that we take for granted because we're so used to seeing Earth through the lens of existing maps.
It's like they're rediscovering the world, just like early explorers charting unknown territories.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And what about taxonomy? How would students even tackle classifying life on Earth using just orbital imagery?
It's a tough one for sure.
Yeah, that seems really challenging.
It would require a lot of creative thinking.
Oh,
Imagine them analyzing patterns of vegetation, trying to differentiate between forests, grasslands, and deserts based on their color, texture, and distribution.
so they're basically becoming ecological detectives,
Yeah.
piecing together clues about biodiversity.
Right.
And they might even be able to draw conclusions about human impact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Based on how those patterns change over time.
Yeah, they could see how human activity is shaping the landscape.
And think about the potential for interdisciplinary connections.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Students studying taxonomy could collaborate with those focused on meteorology, right? But to understand how climate and weather patterns influence where different species live.
That's a great point.
Or they could work with the cartographers to create maps that overlay biodiversity hotspots with other geographical features.
It's like a giant interconnected web of knowledge.
And this project provides the threads that link it all together.
Exactly.
It's not just about studying isolated subjects. It's about understanding how everything interacts to shape our planet.
And that holistic perspective is so important,
Right.
especially now with the complex challenges we're facing, like climate change, biodiversity loss, and resource depletion.
The Planet X probe, with its emphasis on interdisciplinary thinking and a global perspective, seems almost prophetic in a way.
It really does.
It reminds us that scientific exploration isn't just about gathering data.
Right.
It's about understanding the interconnectedness of systems, the ripple effects of our actions, and the importance of collaboration in tackling these global challenges.
It's about seeing the bigger picture, recognizing that we're all part of this intricate web of life.
Right.
And our actions have consequences that extend way beyond our immediate surroundings.
We've talked a lot about the educational and scientific goals.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the technology itself.
Okay.
We mentioned the Candido payload with its 4 Nikon cameras and limited film.
Right.
What other technical challenges did they face back then that we might not even think about today?
Well, one major constraint was the lack of digital imaging and data storage.
Oh,
Everything had to be captured on film, which meant really careful planning and prioritization.
I bet.
There was no room for error, no chance to preview images or make adjustments on the fly.
It must have been like playing this high-stakes game of photographing chess,
Uh,
trying to anticipate every possible scenario and make the most of every single frame.
exactly.
And there was no instant data transfer either, right?
Nope.
Once the film was exposed, it had to be physically returned to Earth for processing and analysis.
So that means there was this built-in delay between observation and discovery, which must have been tough.
It really makes you appreciate the instant feedback we have today, huh?
Oh, yeah.
With digital cameras and high-speed data transfer,
Oh, boy.
imagine waiting weeks or even months to see the results.
It must have required a lot of patience.
Yeah, and anticipation.
For sure.
It probably fostered a deeper sense of appreciation for the images themselves, though, right?
Yeah, I bet.
Knowing how much effort went into capturing them and retrieving them,
Absolutely.
it wasn't just data, it was a precious record of this unique perspective on our planet.
And speaking of perspective, one of the coolest things about the Planet X probe is this emphasis on seeing Earth through alien eyes.
Right.
How do you think that approach might have influenced how students saw our planet?
That's a great question. It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I imagine it would have been a pretty profound experience.
Right.
By taking away all familiarity and preconceived notions, they'd be forced to see Earth in a totally new way. To appreciate its beauty and its fragility and its interconnectedness
Right.
in a way that's just not possible when you're stuck in the everyday world.
You know, it's like that famous quote from astronaut Edgar Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, "Look at that, you son of a bitch."
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
And I think the Planet X probe, even though it wouldn't have physically taken students to space,
Right.
could have fostered a similar sense of awe and wonder and responsibility for our planet.
Oh, for sure.
It's about shifting our perspective
Yeah.
from one of dominance and exploitation to one of stewardship and interconnectedness.
Exactly.
And that's a message that really resonates today, especially with all the environmental challenges we face. It's about recognizing that we're not just inhabitants of Earth, we're a part of it.
Yeah.
We're woven into the fabric of this planet, and our actions have consequences that ripple through the entire system.
Right. And the Planet X probe,
Yeah.
with its focus on observation, analysis, and a global perspective, gives us a framework for understanding those connections and inspiring action.
It's a reminder that the most important discoveries aren't always about venturing into the unknown,
Right.
but about rediscovering the familiar, about seeing the world with fresh eyes,
Seeing things in a new way.
and recognizing the interconnectedness of everything.
Absolutely.
It's about realizing that the greatest adventure might be right here on Earth.
Yeah.
It's waiting for us to explore it with that same sense of wonder and curiosity that drives us to explore the cosmos.
I love that.
Makes you wonder what the students back in '88 would think if they could see all the Earth observation tech we have now.
Oh, man.
Eh.
They'd be blown away by how much data we have access to.
No, right.
It's crazy.
Satellites constantly orbiting, capturing these super high-res images,
Oh, yeah.
measuring everything from sea level rise to deforestation.
We can literally watch the planet changing.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, is there a risk of getting overwhelmed?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like with all this information?
Right.
Do we lose sight of the big picture?
It's easy to get lost in the details.
Yeah.
Focus on individual data points
Yeah.
without understanding how they all fit together.
Right, right.
That's why the Planet X probe approach is still so relevant, though.
Okay.
It's not just about gathering the data.
Right.
It's about asking the right questions,
Yeah.
framing them in a larger context, and using that data to tell a story,
Oh, I like that.
to paint a picture of our planet that's both comprehensive and compelling.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the approach,
Right.
the mindset you bring to scientific inquiry.
Exactly.
And that's something that goes beyond time and technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the exciting thing is, the spirit of Planet X probe is alive and well in all these citizen science projects today.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. People all over the world contributing to research,
Wow.
using their smartphones to track birds, analyze satellite images for deforestation, collect local weather data.
It's like we're democratizing science,
Yeah.
giving anyone with curiosity and an internet connection the power to become an explorer,
Exactly.
a researcher, contributing to our understanding of the planet.
It's awesome.
And it's not just about gathering data either,
Right?
Ru.
It's about building community,
Oh, yeah.
a sense of shared purpose,
Mm-hmm.
connecting people to something bigger.
Because it's a powerful antidote to that feeling of isolation and powerlessness, right?
Oh, totally.
Which so many people feel when they think about global challenges. It's
Yeah.
about reclaiming our role as active participants,
Yes.
shaping the future, not just watching it happen.
It all starts with curiosity,
It really does.
that willingness to look at the world with fresh eyes and ask those questions that lead to unexpected discoveries.
And sometimes those discoveries aren't about venturing into the unknown.
Sometimes they're about rediscovering the familiar,
Right.
taking a moment to appreciate the beauty and complexity
Yeah.
of the systems that sustain us.
It's about shifting our perspective
Yes.
from one of dominance and exploitation to one of stewardship and gratitude.
And that shift can be so empowering.
I agree.
It can inspire us to act, to make changes,
Yeah.
to support initiatives protecting our planet, to use our voices for a sustainable future.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Planet X probe,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with a little challenge.
Okay, I like it.
Step outside tonight, look up at the sky. Imagine seeing Earth for the first time through the eyes of an alien.
Oh, wow.
What would you notice?
Oh.
What would you wonder about? What stories would you tell about this amazing planet?
That's a great challenge.
Remember, exploration isn't just about traveling to distant lands or outer space. It's about opening our minds to new possibilities, embracing that curiosity, and realizing that the greatest adventure might be right here on Earth, waiting for us to discover it.
With fresh eyes.
Exactly.
Oh.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep sharing what you find.
I love it.
That's the true legacy of the Planet X probe. Until next time, keep looking up, keep looking down, keep looking all around.
That's great.